From the very start of this, when we put All-in-One Youth Ministry Management Solution on our homepage, we had that as a goal. We wanted to truly try to do everything we could to meet all the needs that you have as you look for ways to manage your youth ministry, help it grow, and help your students grow. Now, that has continued to, what that exactly looks like has continued to change as we have talked to more student pastors, realized that you wear many hats. Some of you have more support than others, some of you have more tools in place than others. And so we've tried to, I guess, be chameleon-like and change and mold to what it is that you need. And now we feel like we're kind of in a place where we're able to take a next step, because another piece of that, a vision for me has always been that I don't want this to just be about attendance and data and communication. While I think that's hugely important, I also want this to be a place where you can equip your students and your parents and your leaders with resources to help them grow spiritually and to help them disciple others and to reach the community around you. And so that's kind of what we've done. And we're starting to try to load in resources that we've had over the years for you to utilize and use, and then also make it easier to access some of the other resources that we have in place all through the Youth Ministry Cloud. So I want to show you a couple things that we've done and we've been able to do. Now, hopefully you've seen, once you subscribe, you get access to this Ministry Admin Console, which allows you to go in and update a student ministry subdomain, basically website, create posts for a news feed, and then push out resources to an app as well as to that subdomain for your students to access. But you also can push things out to a leader resources section so that your leaders can access things as well. And you can see that you're able to create, leader resources that they log in, or for the students, you can create public ones, which is basically like an extra page, basically for your website, or private ones where they log in utilizing the email that they've provided you. And then you can push out all sorts of things. And since it's technically password protected, meaning they have to log in, then you're covered, so that if you want to share out Sunday school curriculum you bought and things like that, you're covered under copyright. And we set it up with email because most students in their schools, even down to like fourth grade, sometimes lower, have an email address. And so it's something most of them are going to have access to, most of them are going to remember because they use it a lot. And so therefore, you can quickly and easily create and push those things out to them. Now, you're going to start to notice, though, there's been a few more things that we begin to add, because while we want you to be able to push out things you already have, things you already utilize and use, we want to add in other things that we've been using so that you can have access to them as well. Now, I want to say that we are not saying that we believe a computer or technology can do ministry, but what we do believe is that utilizing the technology that our students already have, our leaders already have, our parents already have, we believe it can be a tool to get information and resources out to them. Because while I love paper and I love books, let's be honest, when we print those little booklets, or whatever the case may be, they end up left in a chair, on a table, or in the trash a lot of times. But kids are going to have a device with them, usually. And if they lose that device, they're going to get another one. And since everything's cloud-based, they can still go back and access this information. So you're saving yourself time and money, but more importantly, you've got something in your students' hands, with the goal being that they can go to school. And for example, let me show you kind of what your app would look like. They can sit here and they go, man, this friend of mine needs to hear the gospel, and they can pull up this gospel track and they can swipe through and they can walk them through what the gospel is and share it with them. All right. Or maybe, for example, they just are struggling, or they know a friend struggling, and they can pull up one of these scripture guides and just see kind of verses from when they're struggling with different things. Okay. Or that discipleship series. Whatever the case may be, they're going to have access to all that information, and they can pull those things up as they need it. Now, with the resources that you push out, Sunday school curriculum, things like that, imagine this. They're sitting there in class, they're sitting there in the cafeteria, and they hear someone talk about something. Oh, I remember talking about that on Sunday. And they can pull it back up real quick and they show them. And so they get the opportunity to share the gospel. Now, you're going to see that we have a few different resources here, and so I want to walk you through them. Okay. One is the scriptures for when you struggle with different things. Okay, it's a scripture guide. It's something we've had for a while. When I was a kid, one of my Sunday school teachers, when I was like in sixth grade, built one of these for us. Unfortunately, I wish I'd have kept the book. But I said, man, it's such a great idea. I wanted to go through and do it as well. And so they can come into here and they can highlight and read and take notes. And so if there's things they're struggling with, or friends are struggling with, or even your leaders, they can come in and they can pull up these different issues. Now, obviously, this is an app format. Some of your students may or may not have a phone device that they can use. Well, that's okay, because remember, you also get this website to where they can go up and access things too. And I know a lot of schools that are already providing kids iPads or providing kids Chromebooks, which means they have a device at home, and many of those schools are even getting them data packages. So they already have internet if they didn't have it already. And so what we're saying is if someone else is making the financial investment, giving the kids the tools, then we can pop in and let's take advantage of that and let's work to redeem technology and find ways for our kids to have tools in their hands quickly and easily and accessibly. Okay. Now, again, these things will pop up here and they can go in here, and so if their feelings are hurt, someone's hurt their feelings. Not only that, they can come in and highlight, annotate, and say, remember this, or tell friend, or whatever the case is, save it. It's all there right on that device. Okay, so that's just kind of one tool that's there. And again, they can highlight and drag and do the same thing on all of their on their phones as well. Okay, now. So that's one tool, that we've given you access to. All right. Now, there's also a couple others. There's a 1412 movement ebook, and so what that is basically, it's in John 14:12, where Jesus talks about, that people will do even greater things than I have done. And we believe that to be true. And we believe our students and our leaders can accomplish great things for Christ. And so what we've done is kind of put a book together, and it's kind of a guide for starting a movement in your life and a movement in the world around you, and kind of with a specific focus about, your campus or those places you're at regularly, your teams, your neighborhoods, all those kinds of things. And so we've given some steps here. And so this is an ebook we've written. Again, they can read it, they can highlight it, annotate it, take notes. And so it's just kind of a guide to get them going. And for those students who you've going, man, they're showing up every week, they're staying out of trouble, and that's awesome, but they need to take those next steps. We believe firmly we want to be able to take action, reach people for the gospel, and get them to grow. And so we believe this is going to be a tool that's going to help them and kind of motivate them and give them some strategies to help get that going. Okay, we also have our What is a Disciple series. Now, this is not a Sunday school curriculum. This is not a retreat curriculum. This is a discipleship study, and here's what I mean by that. It's pretty intensive, and the lessons are pretty long, so it's kind of designed for one lesson a week. You could you could do more if you wanted to, especially had some, I guess fairly advanced kids. But here's the idea. It's kind of giving them some things to think about. It's building on their faith, but then it's also kind of teaching them how to study Scripture and how to grow. And so basically they'll read a verse or a passage, and then there's some questions. And those questions are kind of going, hey, these are the things you should have been thinking about while you're reading them. So it's teaching them kind of how to analyze, study, and think through Scripture. And then there's also some things they can wrestle with and be challenged by as they grow. So the idea is they do this. They walk through this with a leader or a friend, okay, who's in their small group. And then once they grow and they've taken these notes, then guess what? They turn around and they say, hey, friend, whoever, go download this app. Go to this website and bookmark it. Whatever the case is, let's walk through the study together. And so then they're going out, they're sharing the gospel with their friends, and then they're walking through that discipleship journey using these tools and resources. And so that's what we want. That's why we're giving this stuff away. We're throwing it into the library as for our Youth Ministry Class subscribers, because we built these tools and we want them to be something good for communication, good for promotion, but mainly good for discipleship. And so we are believing that. And again, not believing technology does ministry or technology changes lives, but it's an opportunity we have to get things out quickly and effectively and inexpensively, okay, so that our students can go reach their friends for Christ. And so that's that. Now, also, remember, just kind of like I said, there's a leader resources section. Your students get to, your leaders get to access these things as well. And so if they need to grow spiritually, they have friends at work they want to reach, or again, if they're training up students to reach people for Christ, then they can do that as well. Now, a couple other things. We have our Disciple Now curriculums, all right? We have a disciplenowcurriculum.com site with a retreat, basically full event packages. It can be used for camps, retreats. We call it Disciple Now. You may call it something else. And so if you purchase one of those, I've already got them loaded into the cloud. They can go out to students as well, where they can access their outlines digitally to save time and money, but again, to make it to where they have those things with them later on down the road and not just at the event. So that's that. Another thing that's coming soon that we're trying to work on is basically a daily devotional that pushes out to where they can sit there and access and pull that up. Okay, and just again trying to load in resources to grow. Now you may be wondering, why aren't you giving away the Disciple Now curriculum? Thought about it, wrestled with it, but here's the issues with those. We have an artwork person who's a friend of ours. We're very small, it's just me and Jamie. We have an artwork person who's with us. We have a copywriter, as in like a editor, I guess, be a better word. And so they're this is sort of a team effort. We got a couple people that we've let write stuff for us, and so that one's a little bit more expanded, so we can't exactly just give that stuff away. So that's one reason we're not just giving the studies away, but we will try to make it easier for you to access them. So those things are there. And then some other big things down the road. So we're trying to grow and push these things out. Remember also, don't forget this, that you also, once you subscribe, you get access to youthministrytoolbox.com. Over 3 years of PowerPoint games, PowerPoint source resources, sermons, small group studies, and then a bunch of admin tools to help you run leader meetings, permission slips, things like that. So basically, Jamie took his hard drive and emptied it on the web, and so of being in ministry for years, and so that's there. So we're excited about these 3 new resources, the scripture guides, the What is a Disciple series, and the 1412 Movement ebook. We're excited about that. We're excited about the things that are coming with the devotionals, integrating the Disciple Now curriculum more, working on some other tools and things. But we're also excited to see how you use these tools for stuff that you're already doing, because we want to see not only be able to communicate and connect with your kids and really do some good data, meaning not looking at numbers, but looking at how can I look at who's coming, who's not coming, and how can I really help to make sure my kids are connected and that they're growing and my ministry is changing and my community is being impacted. Okay, and then how can we use tools to disciple kids? So we're excited. Hopefully you check out these new tools, enjoy them. If you have other ideas, things you want, things you need, let us know. We're here to serve, and we hope you have a blessed day.